Silver Hills Guest House. Some of you heard a little bit about it. We're located in British Columbia. We're in what we call the Okanagan, which is right probably the south central British Columbia. And our guest house has 12 guest bedrooms. And we're really running a lifestyle center. Really, that's what it is. It's about lifestyle. And it's in a spa setting. So what we do is we have a steam room, we have a hot tub, we have an infrared sauna, and then we give massage, hot rock massage, and different kinds of wraps. And we do like mud wraps and that kind of thing. Foot rejuvenation, facials. So it's in a spa setting. So you would go there and you would have spa, but then you also have health classes every evening. And some of these things that we're sharing with you right here are the type of things that we would be sharing with our guests in the evening. One of the favorite things that we do, one of the spa services that's one of my favorite ones, is what we call the wet sheet wrap. How many of you have heard of that? Have you ever heard of the wet sheet wrap? It's an excellent remedy. Basically, when people get stressed out, we were talking about stress earlier. What stress does, it not only emphasizes certain different organs in the body, but it also emphasizes the circulation to those organs. And so you get this unbalanced circulation. When a person's under stress, they get unbalanced circulation. Remember what I told you? Perfect circulation is perfect health. And so when we get this unbalanced circulation, how could you straighten it out? Well, one of the things you can do is take them out exercising. And of course, exercising will help to stir the circulation and really get it going. But some people aren't able to exercise, or they're not ready to exercise. And exercise can sometimes be a stress to people. You actually get stressed when you're exercising. I have people that go out, and I don't know if you've ever seen these people, but they'll strap on weights on their arms and their legs, and they go out with a fierce determination to lose 20 pounds in 2 hours or something like that, and they're just out there, I'm going to hit the trail, and that's exactly what they do. They go out and hit the trail. And they come back, and they look stressed when they get back. So what could we do for that person to relax them? And so that my favorite application for that person would be what we call the wet sheet pack. And simply what we do at the guest house is we have a massage table that's set up. We put a blanket on the massage table. We take a wet sheet, and we dip it in cold water, and we wring it out so it doesn't drip, so it's not sloppy. We lay it on the sheet. You guys are getting scared already, aren't you? And we have the person go in the steam room or in the hot tub or in the infrared sauna and get their body warmed up. I don't want them hot. I don't want them sweating. I don't want them to get too hot. But I want them to be, their core to be really nice and warm. And when they get nice and warm, then we bring them back and we lay them on that cold, wet sheet, and we wrap them very quickly, wrap them up. And we wrap them in the blanket right after that. And the cold application, I don't like we call it actually for our guests, we don't even call it a cold, wet sheet wrap or a wet sheet wrap. We call it a detox wrap. We give it a name, you see. So, I want the detox wrap, because if we said a cold, wet sheet wrap, nobody would take it, right? So you have to give it something. But anyway, once they've been in it, and they've been in it for a few minutes, their body warms right up. The skin warms right up. And where do you think that blood is coming from? It's coming from all the blood being distributed all through these, these different organs of the body. Bring it out to the surface of the skin, and all the internal organs, all these things start to relax. So the person actually relaxes, and it's a deep relaxation that I can't achieve any other way, and it's so simple. I tell you, I had a lady that came to our place, and she had what we call hysteria. Have you ever heard anybody seen somebody with hysteria? I've never seen it before. It was a new one to me. And this lady hadn't slept for 2 years, basically, that's what she said, and she did look like it. She didn't look like she was sleeping properly. Very, very upset. She didn't understand English, and she'd migrated to this country, to our country, and her children were going to school and speaking English, and her husband, shortly after they migrated, had left her, and so there she was trying to care for her children, and in a situation that was very, very stressful for her, and she wasn't sleeping properly, totally having a very, very hard time of it. And so I said to her, well, let's do the wet sheet pack. And so we got the bed all set up, and we had the wet sheet there, and she was warming up, and then she came back, and she laid on the wet sheet, and the lady who was administering it wrapped her up, and the minute she hit the wet sheet, you know what she did? She screamed. Well, some people scream, but this lady screamed like, ah! like a blood-curdling scream. I got guests in the guest house. I thought, well, you know, I started watching the parking lot. I think they're leaving. Everybody's leaving. I go, well, somebody just got murdered. They said, well, this is terrible. You know, I'm getting out of here. Oh, lady, it just scared me to death. It scared me. I was outside in the hall. So the next day I said to her, I said, look, I'd like to do another wet sheet pack, but you have to make me a promise. No screaming. Please, no screaming. And she says, but it felt so good. I said, I don't care how it feels. Don't scream. I said, yeah, all the guests are going to leave. I can't take this. So anyway, we did the same thing, got it all ready. What happened when you hit the wet sheet pack? What do you think happened? Louder and longer. Ah! Just screaming, right? Oh, no. Well, that was the end of it. No more wet sheet packs for her. So then we started with the hot and cold. We have hot and cold tubs, you know, these big tubs. So we put her in a hot tub for 5 minutes, and then a cold tub for 30 seconds, a hot tub for 5 minutes. 3 days after she came to Silver Hills, she went up to her bedroom that night, and she slept for 7 hours, first time she'd done in 2 years. And I'm telling you, when she came down the next day, you wouldn't believe it was the same woman. She had an absolute change in countenance. I'll tell you, the wet sheet pack, very simple, easy to do at home. You can even do it for yourself. I've done it for myself. Very easy for you to do. The number one de-stressing application. Are you with me? Number one. You can't do anything better. You got a person that's all anxious. Dr. Kellogg, by the way, took this wet sheet pack into the psychiatric hospitals in upper state New York and replaced all of the then known, of course we've got much fancier medicines now, but the then known medicines with the simple wet sheet pack. And you don't have to be in a condition of panic attacks and anxiety to enjoy the benefits of it. You just have to be feeling a little anxious and not resting properly and just feeling like you're just a little bit stressed. That's the time to start doing the wet sheet pack. Very simple, easy to apply. Simply all you need is a blanket and a cold, wet sheet. And believe me, the colder the better. You don't want to have it kind of, you think, oh, I want to baby myself. No, no, get it cold. Because the cold will attract the heat. That's what you want. You want the reaction. And you're going to get a reaction if you get a nice cold sheet there. I mean, it's only going to be momentary. One thing is a caution, just as a caution. If you have somebody who's elderly, I don't see anybody here that's that elderly, but if you had somebody that was elderly, and you wrap them up in that, there's a possibility that their circulation would not respond as quickly and they wouldn't warm up as quickly. In that case, you want to be there with them and be cautious to make sure they warm up. If they don't warm up, then you want to rub the pack a little bit and it will warm them up. And if that doesn't warm them up, then you take them out and get them warmed up in a warm tub. I've never had it happen. I've just been told it can happen. And so I'm just as a warning or precaution for you, but everyone in this room, I'm sure, would warm up in just 10 minutes, 5 minutes. You'd be warmed right up. And you will enjoy this relaxation. You're normalizing the circulation. You bring it out to the surface of your skin. One of the things that happens when you're relaxed is your blood goes to the surface of your skin. That's just one of the demonstrations. You have blood comes out to the surface of the skin. And so, you remember this morning I said to you, the relation that exists between the mind and the body is very intimate. Well, we can do it both ways. We can have thoughts that will make us uptight. But we can also treat the body in such a way that we can help the mind to not be so uptight. And this is exactly what we're going to do with the wet sheet pack. We can actually be able to reach the body through exercise. Remember I showed you that this morning? And also through something as simple as the wet sheet pack. Well, I want to ask you this afternoon, how much of your body is water? How much of it is water? Anybody? Give me a percentage. You're all kind of, let's wake up a little here. What is it? About 70% water. Okay, your body's running around 70% water. And when you think of water in your body, what comes to mind right away? Just your body and water. What comes to mind right away? Some fluids or something like that. What comes? What's that? Blood. Okay, there's something very liquidy. What else? Anything else? Lymph. Okay. Anyone else? Plasma. Okay, good. You guys are technical. Anything else? Saliva. How much saliva do you produce every day? How much do you produce? How much saliva? Do you know? Depends on who's cooking, right? No, just kidding. Well, you know, if you get under stress, your saliva just about dries up. You know, that's why they have at the podium, they always have a glass of water, because you're supposed to be stressed out when you're speaking, you know, so keep on drinking water. right? So if you get stressed, you don't produce as much saliva. That's one of the reasons why when you're eating, you shouldn't be in a stressful situation. You should try and relax yourself, be calmed down so you eat without being stressed. You produce about a quart of saliva a day. How much digestive fluid? Digestive juices, how much? About 1.5 gallons of digestive juices are produced every day. How about sweat? That's just about straight water. Tears, it's just about water. Urine, there we are. Look at all the water. We're shifting water around all over the place. Lots of water, right? But I want us to think about something this afternoon. There's 4 ways our body has to get rid of poison. What are they? If we want to get poison out of our body, what are the 4 ways that we have to get rid of it? Well, okay, the bowels. The liver uses the bowels as the exit, okay? So the bowels. What else? Skin, good. Lungs, good. Kidneys. What does the body use it? Every one of those organs as the vehicle to excrete the waste. What does it use? What about the lungs? Water. Well, what do we say? Let's take a look. One of the lungs' vital functions is to transport carbon dioxide from the air sacs to the bronchial passages from which it is exhaled, and oxygen from outside the body into the air sacs. This can be done only by dissolving these gases in a liquid medium. The solvent that does this is water. Take your glasses off and go, what do you got? What do you got? Steam. Well, I hope not. I mean, you have drops of water, but I hope it's not steam. I hope you're not that hot, that under the collar. If you get droplets of water when you breathe out, out comes every breath, you breathe out water. In our country, we're a little colder than you, by the way. In fact, when I left home, we had 3 feet of snow on the ground. It's quite a pleasure for me to walk with you out here on your trails. Out on our way, you have to plow away before you go through there. But in our country, in the wintertime, when you get in a vehicle and it's cold and people start breathing, what do you think we tell each other? Stop what? Stop breathing. I can't see out the window. It's all fogged up. It's all, all the droplets start sticking on the window and it condenses on the cold glass. Where's all that moisture coming from? Every time you breathe out, you're breathing out moisture. See, here comes more moisture. Every time you breathe out, we breathe out moisture. Every breath, we're breathing out some moisture. And so there's some water right there. What about our skin? If we took and skinned somebody, how many square feet of skin are we going to get? About 19.6 square feet of skin. But if we took a microscope and looked at your skin, what would we see? What would we see? Pores, right? And there's millions of pores in your body. In fact, if we took the skin surface and we included the pore, which is actually goes down and back up and then down and back up, we included the pores in your skin surface, the skin surface would go from 19.6 square feet to what? 11,000 square feet. Are you with me? Now this is a big organ. This is when somebody says this is the largest organ of the body, that's what it is. The skin is your largest organ in your body. And we have in our guest house, we have a steam room, an infrared sauna, and a hot tub. And we put people in these warm environments, and what do you think happens? Start to sweat. Where's the water coming from? It's coming from the skin. Where's the skin getting it? Well, it's getting it from in that skin. You have those pores, and at the bottom of those pores is a sweat gland, and the sweat gland is getting it out of the blood, and it's putting it out on the surface. Where's the tank of water that's feeding this whole operation? Where's the water tank? Do we have a water tank in our body? We don't really, do we? We don't have a tank, an actual, like we have in our car. We have a rad with water in it. We have water distributed throughout the body, but we don't have a big tank of water. So when I go out and start sweating, that water is coming from the blood, it's coming out. It's taking it through this filter. The body's using the least needed water to cool me down. Now, if we don't have how do we get the water around if we don't have an actual tank? Well, we have what we call a water allocation system, a distribution system. A body has a system of distributing water to the different parts of the body where it's needed. And if the water level starts to get low in one area, what do you think starts to get higher? Histamines. The histamine level starts to go up. If we get too many histamines, what do we have? Does anybody know what starts happening? Fairly common. Starting to get allergic reactions. We start getting more allergies. If the water goes down, I want you to get this illustration now. When the water goes down, one of the messengers that the body uses is histamines. The histamine level begins to go up. And so if our water levels are getting low, then our histamine levels will begin to get higher. And as we go further into the lecture, we'll start seeing that there is actually a reason for some of these allergic reactions that we're starting to get. So we really don't have a water tank, we have water distribution. Now, if you had to do an allocation, which would be more important, sweating or saliva? Come on, let's have some fun. If you had to do the allocation consciously with your own mind, which would you think was more important, sweating or saliva? Saliva, of course. No question, right? So if you started getting hotter and hotter and hotter and your body temperature came up to 102, would you feel like eating? No. So which one is more important? I mean, you have to keep the temperature down, right? Irregardless, if we got into a really hot desert situation, you'd give up saliva just to stay cool. You with me? So when it comes to distribution, the distribution system in the body has a protocol, and there's certain things that are more demanding and more important, and they get more water. There's things that aren't as important, and they get less water, and so you can start to see there's a shift. All right, when we have the bowel. Let's talk about that for a second. Oh, just one thing. If you don't have a hot tub or an infrared sauna or a steam room at home, how could you sweat? Open your Visa bill, right? Does it every time. Oh, there goes my wife. She went to town and she's got the Visa. Oh, no. What could you do at home to sweat? Exercise, okay. What else? You don't want to exercise. Hot shower. What would be better than a hot shower? A warm tub. No, you notice I didn't say hot. I don't want you getting up. You know, we've done that. We used to do fever baths at the guest house. And we raise somebody's body temperature up to 102 and keep it there for 45 minutes. I mean, this is dramatic. You know, a person's heart rate goes up, and oh boy. But people, when they get out of a hot tub, you know what they can do? I've seen them do it. They stand up, and what do you think they do? Bong, hit their head against the wall. So be careful with a hot tub, a warm tub. 101 degrees is hot, plenty warm enough to make you sweat. You can take a book, sit in there for 20 minutes, and you're going to start sweating. Is it good to sweat? Yes. Why? We have 4 ways to get rid of poison, right? One of them is your skin. Sometimes we take this stuff and we spray it here and here and all over the place. It's called, anti-what? Perspirant, yeah. Okay, but our body is actually healthy for us to sweat. It's a healthy thing for the body to sweat. Maybe not in public, but it's certainly healthy for us to go through that process. And so in the tub, that's a great place. Get in there, get warm, get this sweat out, get some of the impurities out. Excellent thing to do. Make sure you drink extra water. All right, what about the bowel? What's the primary function of the bowel? Supposing it didn't work right, what would be the result? Say, supposing it wasn't working right, what would you have? If the bowel wasn't working right, what would happen? Well, actually the opposite. You'd have diarrhea, right? The primary function, I don't know if you can read that. Can you read that? I can read it. Here. The primary function of the bowel is to reabsorb fluid. You with me? That's its main job. So I got a quart of saliva, a gallon and a half of digestive fluid. I can't let that all go through. It has to be reabsorbed, okay? And the organ that does that is the bowel. And so it's reabsorbing the moisture that's in that material as it's passing through it. Now, if I go down south here and say go to Mexico or something like that, and I get this thing they call Montezuma's Revenge. You heard of that? You see? This is diarrhea. Wow, here goes the food right straight through me. And I'm only having that happen for a day, and I'm on the line to the doctor saying, "Doctor, what's going to happen to me? I mean, this stuff's going through me like water. How much water is there in me?" Anyway, you start questioning. I'm going to start measuring. How many gallons can come out of me, right? I can't believe that this much fluid can go through my body. But that's not really the problem in our country, mostly. What's the problem in our country? The exact opposite. What do we call that? Constipation. This organ's doing its job very well, but we're constipated. Why? What's the reason? We're not eating enough fiber. Yeah, we've figured out how to refine our foods and take out the fiber. What does fiber do? What's its job? There must be some farmers here. When you plant that wheat in the field, it can actually be really dry. The field can actually look like it's dry, And you come by there in a little while, and you'll see the thing is actually sprouted, and it's got those two little leaves on the top, and it's actually starting to grow, right? Where to get that moisture? See, what the fiber does is it absorbs moisture. It actually draws moisture to it, and it hangs onto it. So when we get the fiber in our food, what happens is it gets wet. And in the case of wheat fiber, it has what they call the pentose action 5 times. It swells up 5 times its size. So when I take out the fiber, I didn't just take out the fiber, but I took out this action of swelling and absorbing moisture, see, which gives bulk. Oh, remember we talked about peristalsis and we talked about stalsis? If you took the actual food tube itself, how do you think the food knows that it's supposed to move in the tube? What do you think it is that tells it to move? What's the trigger? It's the bulk itself. It's actually the presence of material in the tube pushing against the wall that gives the signal. See? Can you imagine Philadelphia cream cheese? Whoop, there's no signal there, right? No fiber there, so there's not much of a signal. You put in some whole wheat, and boing, oh, the bowel knows what to do, and so that we have better peristalsis. So the fiber actually works as a trigger for the peristalsis. Are you with me? All right. And it also helps here in the bowel, because when the fiber gets to the bowel can't wring the water out of it. So the water is going to remain in the fiber, which is going to add bulk to the stool. Okay? Drink adequate water. And then the next one is called practicing regularity. Now, I want to share something with you, and I know that nobody here has this problem. I'm guaranteed of that, because you're a different group than most. I have guests that come to our guest house, and they are so busy. I mean, they are so busy. They've got such a crowded day that they really don't have time to exercise. Did you know that? They just don't have time to exercise. I talked to them. I have a fellow that came to my guest house from Germany. He ran the largest wholesale food warehouse in Western Germany. Big warehouse. He came back 7, 8 times to our guest house. The man is now a baptized member of the church, by the way, and he's helping out. He's actually running a mission program for the Chernobyl children in Germany. But anyway, he came to our place. First time he drove by our place, he just happened to drive into the yard by accident. But anyway, this guy came back many, many times. But he's so busy, large staff, very, very busy man. And the only way I could get him to exercise was on a treadmill in front of the TV watching news. That's the only time he had time during the day. Otherwise, he was completely booked. So busy, no time for exercise. You know that? No, nobody here is like that. I know that. Okay. I have people that are so busy that they don't have time to eat. You know what breakfast is for them? I don't know if you have this. You don't have Tim Hortons in this country, do you? Do you have Starbucks? Yeah. Drive-through? You have drive-through? Yeah, this is breakfast, man. It's behind the wheel. There's Starbucks drive-through with a donut and a coffee, cell phone in one hand. See, this is breakfast. I'm too busy. Got to get going. Got to get to work. Got things to do. People to see. Places to go. Too busy to eat. Too busy to exercise. And guess what? They're already 1 to 1.5 hours sleep deprived. Do you know how you can tell if you're sleep deprived? You know how you can tell? Go to church. That's it. Right there. Now I know. Sleep deprived, see? Get behind the wheel. Start driving a little ways. I'm sleep deprived. See, I'm running. These people are sleep deprived. They don't have time to exercise. They don't have time to eat. They don't have time to sleep. Uh-oh. Should I tell you the next one? They don't have time to go to the bathroom. They're constipated, So when they leave the house in the morning, they say, oh, I don't have time. I'll do it when I get home. Guess what happens while they're at work? See, that organ is drawing water, right? It's going to keep on drawing water. And that stool is going to get hard. They got to stop it, get dynamite on the way home. Oh boy, got to get that stuff again. Boom. When nature calls, heed nature's call. That's what regularity is. Practice regularity. Look after your health. Folks, if there's one thing I could share with you more than anything else, there is nothing more important in your life than your health. Absolutely nothing. I mean, I have had people that have come to our guest house that are wealthy people lots of money, no problem with money. They would do anything to get their health back, though. They've lost their health through lifestyle problems, without taking care of their lifestyle, and they would do anything. And they would do they want to get their health back again. Take care of your health. It's the most important thing that you have. You can do anything with health. Without health, you can do very little. So take care of your health. And the last one is exercise daily. The reason being is the bowel works off the abdominal muscles. Exercising helps to work the bowel muscle as well as the abdominal muscles, and gives it something to springboard off of, and so that it helps to create a much healthier situation for your bowel. All right, what about the last one? The last one we want to talk about is your kidneys. Now the kidneys, when I give this class to young people, and I've done it down to grade 1, and I like to get them to draw a picture themselves. So I want you to just picture in your own mind, if you're drawing a picture of yourself, if I give it to these grade 1 or grade 2, these little children, draw a picture of themselves. Of course, I want to put the different organs on there, so that's why I have them draw. And if I don't tell them how big to draw themselves, how big do you think they draw themselves? Give them a nice piece of paper. How big do you think they draw themselves? Really tiny, little tiny person. So then I have to tell them, well, draw a bigger person. Now, if you want to see another thing, and I just share this with you folks, because I've done it with a number of children. If you want to get something interesting, get them to draw a picture of their teacher and themselves. And boy, the proportions are unbelievable. That teacher is so big, and they are so little. And that's really the perception of a child. They really, really look up to you, believe it or not. Just a little bit. They're like a whole lot. Like they really look up to you. And so you really have a large responsibility in their life. You know, I mean, they much more than just the size of the people, because they look up to adults so much. They're so much bigger. But anyway, so I get them to put on their kidneys on their picture. Where do you think they put them? I had one boy put them right here. And I gave him 100 marks. See, because these are kidneys, right? I mean, you have to get the picture. I mean, in his mind, kidneys, I mean, okay, I know where my knees are. They're right here, and I'm a kid, so there they are, right here. 100%. I had another one put them in his head. And you know why? Can you tell me why? I mean, he's working with his uncle or his dad or something like that. And you know how these guys are. They're talking to each other. Come on, use your kidneys. You know, and they pointed to this, talking to each other. You know, they said, come on, use your kidneys, man. Went like this. And immediately the kid, well, that's where my kidneys are. You got to think, you know, one of the most important things that a child could learn would be how to care for their health, don't you think? I mean, I know when, you know, what was it? Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1492, and I know Magellan discovered the Terra del Fuego, you know, the Straits of Terra del Fuego, and I know that Captain Cook discovered Hawaii, and I know all this stuff, but I don't know where my kidneys are. See? What's more important? I mean, I really am going to have those kidneys my entire life, and how to care for them is really important to me, and that's essential, because I could do things to my kidneys that I don't even know cause problems for me, and the next thing you know, I'm going to be having to go to a doctor or get some help. And so taking care of my health and learning health is absolutely essential. Now, the beauty of the kidney is that in each one of your kidneys you have what is called a nephrons. Nephrons are little filters. They're microscopic. In fact, if we took those nephrons, you have 1 million of these in each kidney. I mean, this is a lot. If you took the convoluted tubule, which is in each one of those nephrons, and you laid that pipe end for end, you'd have a pipeline that was 40 miles long, but you can't see it. It's microscopic. Isn't that beautiful? And when you think of the intricacy of what's created inside your body, it's absolutely phenomenal. And your kidney is capable of going through an equivalent of all the fluid in your body every half hour, molecule by molecule. Isn't that amazing? The kidney is capable, now it doesn't go through all the fluid because some of it stays in your ankles and some stays here and there, but it is capable of going through all the fluid in your body, molecule by molecule, every half hour. And so it's able to keep a continual watch on the different levels of what's going on inside your body, taking care of all of the chemistry of the body. Now, if we took that convoluted tubule, here's how it happens. The convoluted tubule is that pipeline that you see in the middle there. It's that gray pipeline, and what happens, you see how the red portion, that's called the capillary tuft, the capsule that surrounds that collects the liquid portion of the blood. And this is a simple understanding of what's taking place. The liquid portion of the blood is captured there in the capsule, and it now becomes what's called glomerular filtrate. We produce 180 quarts of that every day. And then the red blood cells, the white blood cells, the large proteins, the platelets, and all of these different things go back and forth in that web over top of that liquid portion, and simply through a process we call osmosis, draw back the water they need. So all the tubule cells have to do is hold in the urea and ammonia and all these acids that you don't want to get back into the bloodstream, and allow it to go down into the bladder and be expelled from the body. And the liquid portion, the good stuff, goes back. And that way you get what you need. Dr. Shyrock says this: we would question why any of the urea, which is actually a waste product, is absorbed from the tubule. And he says the reason why urea is absorbed from the tubule is because the body has not been drinking, the person's not been drinking enough water to make the urine relatively dilute. Are you with me? If I'm not drinking enough water, then my body has to draw back some things that it doesn't want to have because it needs, the osmotic pressure overpowers the tubule cells, and I start drawing back what I don't need. What? Because I need it, need something. And what's the problem? The person is not drinking enough water. Are you with me? So how much water does my body need? That's the next question. Well, these are averages. Bigger people are going to need more. Hotter weather, I'm going to need more. But let's say on an average day, about 8 ounces for my lungs, 16 ounces for my skin, 8 ounces for my bowels, and about 6 cups for the kidneys a day. That's about 10 glasses a day. But then, of course, I get 5 for all food's got water in it, right? If you take bread, it's running around 30% water. If you take all the water out of bread, what do we call it? Zwieback, exactly. Zwieback, that's it. It's twice baked, take all the water out of it. So bread's running around 30%, vegetation's running around 80, 90%, meat is running around 70%, dry lima beans are running around 10%, water and everything. So we're getting about 5 glasses of water a day from our food. So how many do I need to drink every day? Approximately. About 5 glasses of water. We say about 6 to 8 is what we would shoot for. But about 5 glasses of water minimum a day is what I need to be drinking. What's our favorite drink? What's your favorite drink in this country? What do you think it is? Most popular drink in North America. What is it again? You got it. It's coffee. 80% of adults in North America claim to drink 3.5 cups of coffee a day. What's your second favorite drink? Soda pop. And what's your third favorite drink? You got it. There you go. The Armbenders Cafe, right? It's out of the bag, folks. Where's the elder here? No, it's okay. No. So that's it. We got coffee, soda pop, and alcohol. If we were to, interestingly enough, if we took the 10 top grocery items in America, what do you think they are? Money makers. What's the number one money maker in your grocery industry? Do you know what it is? Marlboro cigarettes. Number 2, you know what it is? No, Coca-Cola. Number 2. Have you ever driven along the side of the road and you've seen Coke is the real thing? You ever seen that? Coke is the real thing. You've seen it. I've seen somebody over here nodding. You know what it is? It's the real thing if you're an investor. I mean, it just keeps on going up. When I was a child, soda pop was sold in an 8-ounce container. Then it went to a 10-ounce container. Then it went to a 12-ounce container. You know what it is now? I mean, I don't know what it is. What is it now? 32. If you go to some places where they serve a burger, they give you 64 fluid ounces with your burger. And now they're coming up with what they actually had to make the cup sizes in the cars bigger because they're coming up with these big gulps. Why is it that it keeps going up? Well, because it's a diuretic. The more you drink, the more you excrete. You know, it's got to make money. You know, it's going to make lots of money because the more you drink, the thirstier your body gets. So you keep on drinking it. We got in our country pop shops. Whole shop is devoted to pop. You know, I mean, it's just like more and more and more. Okay, so the first one is Marlboro cigarettes. Second is Coca-Cola. Third is Pepsi Cola. Fourth is Kraft processed cheese. Fifth is Diet Coke. Sixth is Folgers coffee. Seventh is Budweiser beer. Are you with me? In the top items, grocery items in America, you have 3 soda pops, 1 alcohol, and 1 coffee. And the reason is because they're all diuretics. They take more water from the body than what the body has gotten from the drink itself. Now let's take how many of you have ever been to Hawaii? How'd you like to do that? It's wintertime. Isn't that nice? Go over to Hawaii. Let's go to Hawaii. So here we are. We're flying over to Hawaii. I got a pet peeve. I do it every time I go on a flight. I get in the airplane. They got the door shut. And I don't know, they crank it shut. And then just before we taxi down the runway, the stewardess stands up and she starts telling me about all the things that could go wrong. You know, there's track lighting in the floor. It tells you where the exit doors are. And the thing I'm sitting on can float. And the mask will fall out of the ceiling, and don't help the person beside you. They're turning blue. Look after yourself first. I mean, they tell me all these things. Now I can't even get off. I mean, maybe I don't want to go now. I mean, they didn't tell me we were going to crash and have flotation devices and all that. Why didn't they tell me when I bought my ticket? Why didn't they just give me, a picture here? Here's the track. Why do they wait until after it's too late? I mean, I can't do anything about this now. Why? It's like almost like getting on one of these rides at the exhibition and telling you what it could crash. Anyway, so we're flying to Hawaii, and we crash. We're in the ocean on our flotation device, bobbing away, and it's 100 degrees in the shade. There's no shade out there, and what's going to start happening? We're going to start sweating, right? Oh, sweat's running out of us. Oh, sweat's running off us. Oh, mopping our brow. Sweat. Oh, tongue is so thick. Oh, so thirsty. I keep licking my lips, trying to keep my lips moist. Tongue gets thicker, drier. Oh man, am I ever dry? Am I ever thirsty? Whew, still sweating, right? You got to keep the temperature down. Next day, sun comes up. Oh, I'm just about delirious. I'm so thirsty. All I can think about is water. I wish I had a drink of water. My throat is parched, man alive. And eventually, I've been told that if you get there long enough, you'll start seeing oases and bubbling streams of water. And you take off one of your shoes and you scoop this stuff up, and you can lick your lips again. You can move your tongue. Feels so good. But in the back of your throat, you taste something. What is it? Salt. The seawater. And you know what will happen to you? You will actually dehydrate your body by drinking seawater. The more you drink, the drier you'll get. You'll actually dehydrate, and you'll die of dehydration right out there in the ocean. Isn't that amazing? And that's exactly what soda pop, coffee, and alcohol are. They are dehydrators. They actually dehydrate the body. They take more water from the body than they give to the body. You with me? And so you can see why we just got to drink more and more and more. And we get addicted to this because we can't get enough if we keep drinking those things to satisfy our thirst. What does the body need? What's its need? It needs what? Water. When you're trying to clean your dishes, imagine if you're going to clean your dishes and I gave you, okay, wash all your dishes in 1 glass of water. Could you do it? You could do it. Take you all afternoon. You'd have to dab away and rinse off and dab away, and finally the cleaning with the very last cloth be very, very hard. Sometimes we're trying to keep our body clean with just 1 glass of water. All this soda, all this other stuff, but just 1 glass of water. Are you with me? What a job. All right, if you're writing it down, here it is. I'm sure you can get this book because it was written by a fellow from your country. The Body's Many Cries for Water. Please, if you can, get this book. Read this book, The Body's Many Cries for Water. Have you heard of it? Yes, some of you have. If you haven't, please get it. If you can't find it under that title, you can get it under another title. Your body's not sick, it's thirsty. Okay? The doctor that wrote this book did an excellent job. And you will love what you're learning when you read what he has to say. I'm just going to give you a snapshot of it. Just The Body's Many Cries for Water. Oh, what's his name? The author's name, I'm going to give you the first 5 letters of it. The rest of it I didn't memorize. B-A-T-E-M-A-N. Bateman. And then it goes on. See, he's got a long name. And I think it's Iranian or something. It's a long name. But anyway, B-A-T-E-M-A-N. That's his last name. Okay? Now, here's what he says. As we age, the thirst mechanism is not reliable, so we don't actually drink enough water. Are you with me? As we age, our thirst, not only do our eyes get dimmer, and not only does our hearing sometimes get dimmer, and not only do our reflexes get slower, but our ability to determine how much water our body needs as we age is not safe anymore. In other words, as we get older, our thirst mechanism is not reliable. So what happens is we get chronically dehydrated. Chronically dehydrated means that I didn't just not drink water yesterday or the day before. I haven't been drinking enough water for the last 3 years. Are you with me? So my tissues are actually low on water. What parts of the body would be affected if I got low on water? What do you think? What parts of my body could become affected? Well, let's take it for instance. On the ends of our bones, we have a thing called cartilage, right? Cartilage is this thing that makes it so the bones slip past each other without grinding and hurting and being painful. If that cartilage gets thin, what do we call that? We have a name for it, arthritis. You ever heard of that? And older people think that that should be a common problem as I get older. I should get arthritis, right? It's just part of aging. What is it that makes that cartilage plump? What do you think it is? Water, exactly. Now, if you were having arthritis and you wanted to go to Costco or one of these other stores and buy something, what would you buy to help you with that problem? It's common. It's right out there. Glucosamine, sulfate, and chondroitin. You heard of it? Sure. Everybody's heard of that. They are the raw materials the body may use for the cartilage, but what is it that makes it plump? Water. So here I have a person who's just gone down to Costco and got themselves one of those tubs, you know, they're always small, like this, glucosamine, sulfate, and chondroitin, right? Got it over here. And they've got their coffee, and they got 2 of their glucosamine, sulfate, and chondroitin, you know, and they wash it down with 2 cups of coffee. Are you with me? What's going wrong here? What is coffee again? It's a diuretic. It's actually a thing that makes the body excrete water. And here I am taking glucosamine, sulfate, and chondroitin to try and make that cartilage nice and smooth. At the same time, I'm washing it down with a diuretic. See what the problem is? What I really need, not against the glucosamine, sulfate, and chondroitin, but make sure you're drinking water. I mean, this is what the body really needs, is water. What about the lining of the stomach? In our stomach, we have HCl, hydrochloric acid, so strong it could actually eat a hole right through the wall of our stomach. What is it that prevents us from eating a hole through the wall of our stomach? What is in the inside of the stomach? A mucous membrane made up largely of water, exactly. And what this doctor said is when he has people that have stomach problems, what he does is he increases their water intake. Increase, up to 3 quarts a day if necessary. And he says you can see the fire beginning to go out and the mucous lining begins to replace. If the histamine level begins to go up, remember I told you if the water goes down, histamine level goes up. If the histamine level goes up in the lungs, what do we call that? There's a name for it. What is it? Histamine levels go up. Exactly, asthma. And what this doctor does with his asthmatic patients is he gives them more water to drink. I had a gentleman that came to the guest house, asthma since he was a child. I showed him the book. He read the book. He got the DVD. He got the book. There's another book that goes along with it. He started drinking 3 quarts of water a day. You know what he told me the last time I met him? He says, asthma is a memory for me. He no longer has asthmatic attacks, but he's increased his water intake dramatically, and it's tremendously helped him. When the water level goes up, what do you think happens to the histamine level? Histamine level goes down. So now we're not going to get the tightness and that problem that's going to be a reaction that would be causing the asthmatic condition. If you read through there, he's going to talk to you about high blood pressure. He's going to talk to you about all of these different things that are common ailments, and he goes on. Remember what I told you? The body's many cries for water, last but not least. Here's in our country, we have 50% of the people dying of heart disease, cholesterol lining their arteries. Now, everybody knows here that after you eat, your blood sugar and your blood fats go up, right? I mean, after you eat, your blood sugar, if you're a diabetic and you take your blood sugar after you eat, you're going to find out your blood sugar is going up and blood fats go up. Now, if you're a person who's been drinking lots of water, well hydrated, When the blood sugars and the blood fats go up, they're in the bloodstream is well hydrated, and they're passing through the bloodstream in this well hydrated solution. If you're not drinking any water, you're eating your dinner and you're having a couple of cups of coffee or the 64 fluid ounces of Coca-Cola or whatever, so you're drinking your diuretic, 2 bottles of beer, Budweiser here or there. What's happening now is that your water level in your blood is down, you get high fat, high sugar, and it starts to create an osmotic pressure on the walls of the artery, trying to draw water out of the cells that line the artery walls. What do you think the body does? It lays down a waxy, fatty substance we call cholesterol to protect itself from giving up the water. Are you with me? Does this sound typical? Waxy, fatty substance called cholesterol. Where's the problem? Diuretics. We're drinking diuretics, and we're causing our body to have to try and defend itself. What the body needs is water. 2 groups of people tried to climb Mount Everest, the Swiss and the English. Swiss got to just about the top, just about made it. They had to turn around and go back down. The British doctor, Dr. Hunt, who was studying the reports, he saw that when they left the base camp, they only allowed them 2 glasses of water because they didn't want the extra weight. And when he read the reports, they had fatigue, they had mental confusion. He says they had dehydration. That's the problem. A lot of heavy breathing, exercising, and these guys were dehydrated. And that's why it was the mental. So he said the British climbers were supposed to drink 12 glasses of water a day after they left the base camp. Of course, the British were the first to plant the flag on the top of Mount Everest. Now, you could argue. Everybody here could say, well, yeah, they had better equipment, they had better weather, better maps. Anything could be better. Better climbers, who knows what it was. So G.C. Pitts, a Harvard physiologist, put athletes on treadmills at 3.5 miles an hour. Here they go. Away they go on the treadmills, 3.5 miles an hour, no water to drink. 3.5 hours later, the body temperature started to climb. If your body temperature goes up, how do you think you feel? You don't feel like doing anything. So they sit down. The next day, he puts them on treadmills at 3.5 miles an hour, as much water as you want. Anytime you want to drink, take a drink. They went for 6 hours, and their body temperature started to climb again. The next day, he gave them more water than they were thirsty for. He gave them as much water as their body was losing through sweat, through urine, through the bowels, through the skin, through the lungs. He replaced the water they were losing. They went for 7 hours and no fatigue. Absolutely no fatigue. And of course, scientists don't work more than 7 hours. Oh, sorry, scientists. They could have gone further. Who knows, right? But they went for 7 hours. I have had people come to the guest house. I'm tired all the time. Do you drink any water? I hate water. Our water at our place tastes awful. I never drink water. What? You ever heard anybody say that? I've heard people say that. I don't drink any water. I was giving this lecture to a high school. 14-year-old boy was sitting right here in the front row, and he wasn't talking or showing off like some kids do. He was talking to himself. He said out loud after about halfway through the lecture, he said to himself, he's just looking off into space, I don't drink any water. It was just kind of like an admission. I don't drink any water. I never drink water. Amazing. Body is how much water? 70%. Okay, so here we are. It's almost 4 o'clock. And you've only had 1 glass of water today. That means you got to get 7 in before you go to bed tonight. Get on your jogging shoes. Get to bed. I give this lecture in the evening, and I had people come to me the next day, and they got bags under their eyes. They say, it doesn't work. I said, why not? Oh, it keeps me up all night. Well, you don't start at night. See, you start in the morning. Fact is, I try to get people to drink water before breakfast. Can you imagine? This is before breakfast. What I suggest, now here's what I call it the 10-day test. For 10 days, I'd like you to drink 3 glasses of warm water before breakfast. Try it. The reason why I like to, I don't want you to drink warm all the time, just before breakfast. If you drink cold before breakfast, sometimes you just feel, it's a little hard to swallow. Drink warm water. 3 glasses of warm, it can even be warmer to hot if you want. 3 glasses before breakfast. Try it. Do it for 10 days. I'll make you a guarantee. If you do it for 10 days, you'll do it for the rest of your life. You'll feel that much different. If you're not drinking water now and you start drinking water before breakfast, and you do that for 10 days, you'll do it for the rest of your life. You'll feel like if you miss it, you didn't wash your face. It's that much, you'll feel that much better inside. You just think, why did I need to drink water? And if you drink 3 before breakfast, then it take 2 before breakfast and dinner, and 2 between dinner and, or lunch and supper. You don't have to drink any before you go to bed. You with me? Really simple. Well, thank you very much for your attention. This at 4:30, over in the fellowship hall, we're going to be doing some assessments. And that's for your benefit. And then this evening, just before the lecture, I'll go over some of those assessments and explain some of what they mean. Of course, you know what blood pressure is, so we'll be doing blood pressure. We're going to be doing a step test, and that's for those of you who aren't on heart medication or don't have a heart condition, you can do the step test. Those of you who are on medication, if your doctor is allowing you to exercise, you can do the step test. Otherwise, we would like you to not do the step test. But we'll be doing the step test, and then we have a body composition test. And with those 3 figures, those assessments, we will be able to get a little thumbnail sketch of where your heart is at, what condition your heart and your physical conditioning is at. Okay? Thank you very much. Enjoyed being with you here this afternoon. Why don't we have a word of prayer just to close our meeting? Loving Heavenly Father, as we bow before you here this afternoon, we just want to thank you for each person here in this room, for their interest in health. And Lord, we want to thank you for the light that you've so abundantly given to us and how to care for ourselves. We ask that you'll be with each person, each family that's represented, that you'll strengthen their bodies as they do these simple things, that they will find that they are powerful, that you will give them wisdom in applying them, how to apply the water drinking, how to apply the wet sheet packs, these different things that we've been talking about. And we just thank you again for being with us and for this afternoon. In Jesus' worthy name, amen.